Right, whilst we've been engaged in SSH, one of the things that you might want to do, of course, is establish a Vnc connection from the laptop on the right hand side through to the actual SSH server itself. So we'll establish the tunnel as before. So we've already got that configuration, and we said it was Raspberry 84, so let's load that in. If we look at the tunnels for that, so under tunnels, under SSH and tunnels, you see you've got a couple of tunnels which refer to redirecting to these two machines over here, 253 and to 80. Now what if I wanted to redirect to myself? Well, let's put a port together, 1111, that'll do, and the destination is going to be localhost. Not the localhost at this end, but the localhost at the other end of the tunnel, which of course will be the SSH server. So where do I want to go? I want to go to 5900 because that's the VNC port on that end. IPv4 or whatever as it is. So if we add that, assuming all is good and dandy, and remember to save that as a complete session and then open it, what we can see here is actually logged on, and we can prove that that now is the remote machine. Yes, it is. That's 84. And what we can also do is we can run a Vnc session. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use Vnc Viewer, and I'm going to go to localhost, which means, of course, essentially being redirected down the tunnel. And I'm going to go into 1111. Oh, I've done that before, and connect. All being well. Oh, did a bit of a typo there because we didn't put all the ones in. Aha, right, okay, so we are there. Are we? Put the right password in. And yes, indeed we are. There it is again. So we can actually do or use, through the appropriate tunneling, we can tunnel through to any one of these devices once we've established a secure shell session using the appropriate security credentials. So using the public and private keys that we used before. So everything is good, yeah, in this particular encounter. So all we have to do is remember, of course, to set up the forwarding correctly. Now, assuming that you've got Putty, it's always a case in question to remember what you've done and remember to save it. And there indeed is the third tunnel entry, which allows us to do that. So everything is good. Next thing that we need to do, of course, is we need to explore X11 and X11 forwarding. So we need to enable it at this end, but we also need to give it an X display location. This is where all the troubles will start, because this does seem to vary dependent upon where or when you're trying to do this. Popular one being :0 or even :00, or even engaging things like localhost and a few colons, well, perhaps one then, and something of a similar ilk. So it's very much usually a case of trial and error, and we'll have a go at that in our next little video. So here we are, we've got the laptop on the right hand side. We're going to establish a secure shell session through to the Raspberry Pi that we can see here is at .80. Now, the normal connection we establish here is an X terminal. It's not a non-graphical terminal, so it's just text. And we might want to run graphical applications, and they will not run successfully on a normal SSH session. So this is where we have to engage X11 Forwarding. Now, to help us do that, we need to install an application. I've got Xming, which will do it for me. So this will support the X11 forwarding through to the laptop PC on the right hand side. Now, to make all that work, we need a Putty Session, an appropriate Putty Session. It's got a Raspberry. Which one have we got? Oh, that's 241. Let's change that to 80. Port 22. This is not the SSH server that we were using before. This is one of our other Raspberry devices, which is defaulting to port 22. I'm not going to do any authentication. I've got private keys and the like here for this particular example, or any forwarding in terms of tunnels, although you could add those. Just going to concentrate on X11. So I need to enable the forwarding and set the display, which I'm going to set as :, so localhost effectively :0.0. If it all works. We'll see. There can be trouble ahead, and this is a particular area of trouble, usually. So that should be well, but remember to go and save what you've done. So this is Raspberry, let's do Raspberry 80, okay, and save that. So if we open this connection, then we'll go and see what that looks like in terms of Putty. Well, first of all, we need to put a password in, so put the correct password in. Does help. Good. So while we're in here, let's have a look at the event log. And let's see, so establishing connection, we've got the old Diffie Harmon exchange, which is good. Right, wanted a password, sent that right, and we're requesting X11 forwarding. X11 forwarding has been enabled. Right, it looks like we've got X11 connection also in there, but nothing to send, so that's fine, so it's closed that connection down. Let's give it something to send. So if I wanted to, I could of course run Wireshark, couldn't I? Now Wireshark hasn't got a cat in hell's chance of working as it is at the moment. So I'm going to see if this will actually get forwarded. So we should see a little X11 window opening up. Here it is. Just drag that across, and there is my Wireshark. You know, I'm on a Windows machine, Ethernet 0 and stuff like that. What is that? That'll be my LAN connection. Okay, so let's have a look, see what's on there, shall we? Probably a lot. So we can see a lot of activity going on here, SSH style, and the lights going on between 80 and 200, which would be correct because we're talking about 80, and 80 is the source end here, which we are on this particular device. Okay, so all is well, we would say. Yeah, remembering that this is indeed 192.16.8.1.80. So any graphical application can be run in a similar way from stop without quitting, without saving, or whatever you. So any application can be run from your devices, assuming you've got X11 running alongside that. So there is X11, and it was relatively painless this time, but it can be fraught, particularly around the display setting that you have when you're doing the X11 stuff. So again, if we have a look, particularly around this area here, getting this display setting right can be problematic and might be particular or peculiar to a particular flavor of Linux that you're using. Good. Well, there we go. Hope that is useful to you.